everybody, it's Keren here from tuppence.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me for the latest instalment in my mini scrapbook album project. It's easy for you to say. So far I've got my cover, and I've made this page, and I've showed you how I made this page, and today I am going to be making this one, and I'm really excited about this one because this is the first of the real action pages. So if I pull on my little octopus here, as you can see, those pages waterfall up. And yes, of course, you can use this mechanism on a greeting card. They are lots and lots of fun and very easy to make, and also very impressive if you don't know how it's done. Stay with me and I will show you. I've already started work on my page. I've covered it with some crumb cake, and I cut my crumb cake to 7.5 inches by 5 inches, that's right, and I just scored and folded on those sides at 1/2 inch and on that side also at 1/2 inch. So that's going to be the basis of my card. And I've got some more crumb cake card. I've cut a strip that is, let me measure it, 5 3/4 inch by 1 inch, and I've got another piece that is 2 1/4 inches, and that is the full length of my A4 card. Some more crumb cake. These pieces are, we'll turn the ruler the right way around, 6 inches by 4 inches, and this one is 3.5 inches by 4.5. And this one is Night of Navy, and it's 4 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then for matting, I've got some more of my my Tranquil Textures papers, and they are 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, 3 3/4 by 5 3/4, 3.5 by 4.5, and 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. So that's my paper and cardstock. So I'm going to begin by sticking this piece down onto the base piece. And I'm doing this now because I want it to have some time for the adhesive to set. So let's put that off on one side to dry. And while I'm also in the area, let's go ahead and cover these pieces. Now I did think about, nope, because that piece. You see, it's easy to remember because I want this pattern to be on the crumb cake, and I want the other pattern to be on the Night of Navy, and these are going to be my photo mats. Goes off to it. Here is my skinny little piece. Let me bring this down. So here is my skinny little piece of crumb cake, and I'm going to score 1/2 inch and 5/8 inch, and I'm going to flip it around and score 1/2 inch and 5/8 inch. Now on this piece, I'm going to score it at 6 inches, I think it is. 6 inches now. So on this piece, I'm going to score it at 6 inches, 6 3/4 of an inch, 7 1/2 inches, and 8 1/4 inches. And I'm also going to mark halfway, which is 1 1/8 on both ends. So that's 1 1/8, that's 1 1/4. And also on my skinny little piece, I am going to mark that at the halfway mark as well. And I'm also going to mark this at the halfway mark as well, which is 5 3/4, so it's 3 7/8. This is going to be my pull-through strip, and this is going to be my static strip. So I want to stick those two pieces together, and I'm just going to apply a little bit of adhesive to my pull-through strip, and I'm going to line up the marks that I made earlier, okay, so that we are pretty much lined up at the halfway mark. Now, actually, I'm going to move that down because I have plenty of room here. So I'm going to line up that strip at the bottom of that piece, because that way, yes, so I pull that through, I have just enough of a pull piece showing. Hope I'm making sense here. Okay, so now I'm going to glue this onto my base card, and again I'm using my liquid adhesive. Now, because I'm doing this kind of ahead of time, I wanted to get everything cut out ahead of time. Actually, I would probably have been better doing this before I put it into the album. Okay, but that's not really going to matter here. Okay, what I am going to do, now I've stuck this down on with tape, which means that if I apply a little bit of my lighter fluid, I can actually lift that up and set that bit underneath. Okay, but you would stick this down before you stuck that edge down, wouldn't you? Yes, miss. I'll put some strips of tear and tape just below where the crease lines are, and I'm going to start building up my picture. Now, I've actually done an extra crease line there, so I could add another picture if I wanted to. So I'm just lining that up centrally as I can. So that's my first layer. Here's my second layer. And here is my top piece. get as centre as I possibly can. There you go. Okay. So now if I pull on my flap, my pieces will pop up. Actually got space. I've actually got space for one more panel, so I've cut another piece of Night of Navy, which is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, and another piece of my DSP, which is 3 inches square. And I'm going to put my liquid adhesive onto my DSP and we'll wiggle that around. Okay, so this could be, I could either have another photograph or I could have a sentiment there, and this time I'm going to pop some adhesive on both sides. So I've got some up at the top there and some on this flap here, and that is going to stop my that's not very central, is it? Let's move things over a little. Okay, that's going to stop things wiggling around where I don't want them to. And of course the great thing about liquid adhesive is that you do get a few seconds of wiggle time. Okay, so that's almost finished the construction. I'm going to do one more thing, which is to stamp out a 2 1/4 inch circle of Night of Navy. And let me bring my scoreboard back in just for a second. And so I'm going to score that in half. I could have just folded it, but by scoring it, it gives me a nicer finish. And a little bit of adhesive onto one side of my folded circle. I'll line that up with my puller strip, and now close everything together. Make sure that nothing. Actually, I'm going to let that set for a few minutes. Some time for. Let's brush the powder off it. I've given that some time for the glue to dry, and when I tested it out, I realised that I need to make another little crease for a fold in this. So just about 1/8 of an inch away from my first fold, I'm just making a second one. Let me fold that up over my, so that I get a sort of little spine there. Can you see? The world's tidiest, but we'll work on that with a bone folder a bit later on, so that when I close up all of my flaps, they're bumping into the tripod at the top of the screen there. That will just come around, and that will, first of all, will help to hold my flaps down, but also it will give me something to pull so that I can open my waterfall. So I'm just going to stamp the octopus from the Sea of Textures stamps, and I'm going to use my Stamparatus, and I'm going to ink up my octopus, and this is Pacific Point, and I've got it on one of the mini stamping spots because these are very, very useful for using with your Stamparatus, because you don't get ink all over the Stamparatus plate, which is good. Right, so now I can see where that is going to stamp. This is the negative piece from a balmy blue octopus that I cut out with my Sizzix with my Big Shot ahead of time. And I'm just going to frame my stamp in my negative piece. Okay. If I'm not 100% happy with it, which I'm not, I can adjust the positioning because this is low tack tape. Okay. A little bit more tape, I think that's sticking up. That's sticking up and it's going to get in my way. Alright, so now I'm happy with that. So all I have to do now is put my die cut piece back into the frame, ink up my rubber stamp again, and give it a nice coverage of ink, lots of light tapping, and presto. Now somebody said you don't need to do CPR on it, which I thought was very funny. Just need a fingertip touch. Okay, so now I'm going to put my octopus. So now I'm going to glue my octopus onto my pull tab. And I'm just adding some little spots of adhesive at the bottom part of the octopus because I don't want it sticking. You see, I've got glue there and I don't want it, so I'm going to leave it sitting that way up until I'm sure that the glue has dried. And there is my finished waterfall page. All I need to do now is to add my pictures, and I've put in some plain white paper. It's actually Whisper White envelope paper, which is retired, but I made sure I got in a good stock of it because I find it's very, very useful. So I've got space there for journaling, and there, and I've done some stamping with my balmy blue ink, and there you go. And yeah, so all I need to do now is to add in my pictures. So I hope that you've enjoyed today's project. Keep watching because I will be adding more pages to my album in the coming weeks, and I am now starting to collect all of the videos that are related to this project into one playlist. So if you have a look out for that, if you've missed any of the earlier pages and you're asking yourself, oh, I wonder how she did that, you can go back and find out. But that's it for now. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye bye.